Hey, this is Lisa Bisso at the Anti-Media, and I am outside Metropolitan Detention Center, where people that were demonstrating earlier were taken after being corralled and stopped and frisked on the sidewalk. So Metro is closed, as you can see. But I figured I'd wait and see if they catch and release them, which is a pretty popular tactic. If you're just tuning in, this is Los Angeles, the LA to Ferguson protests that have been going on here since the decision not to indict Darren Wilson was announced. So you can also see there's like no parking in front of Metro. Like even though they kidnap and hold people here, forget about like no stopping anytime. And if you want to park a vehicle, it's like $5. So no, they can pull up here, but like if it's like our city facilities, like this detention center, like LAPD, like City Hall and the courts, they're the most inaccessible thing in the world. Like you can't park your car. They're really expensive to get to, or like in the middle of nowhere. I mean, this is nowhere. And this is like the city center of LA. I'm live on the internet. No, you can talk.
I was like tripping out. I was just trying to figure out what the fuck is going on in this place. Like, they're locking people up for everything.
They're locking people up for everything except when cops kill people.
Yeah, there's a lot of girls in there for like dumb stuff. Like a girl got beaten up by her boyfriend. She visibly see that she had like a black eye and an eye, and they arrested her.
Yeah, so I don't know if you heard that, but a girl got beaten up by her boyfriend and is in Metro now. So yeah, they locked up over 300 people this holiday weekend that were demonstrating.
Protests. Yeah, there was girls in there that were.
They're still in there.
Yeah, they're saying that they're not letting them out because the protest is still going on, so they're gonna hold them.
Oh, so do you want to be on camera? No. Okay, so did you hear that? Okay, so they're saying, just repeat it so they can hear. You can see it.
They're not letting any of the protesters out, and because the protest is still going on, so they're gonna hold them in.
So after LAPD announced that all the protesters are being released just in time for Thanksgiving, seems like they forgot a few. About how many would you say are in there?
I was on the felony side. They had girls on the misdemeanor, but there was girls that they beat up and put on the felony for battery against police officers.
Wait, the cops beat them up?
Yeah, there was a girl. She was visibly beat up in her face, and she had kept some of her hair that they yanked out.
They yanked out her hair and they put her on the felony side.
Yeah, it was against battery towards a police officer, I guess.
So how many people would you say are in there still? Did you see about?
Well, I know when I first came in there was over 15, but I can't say now because I was on a different side.
How long ago did you get it there?
I got arrested on the 25th.
So there's
around the day before Thanksgiving, the 26th, there was over 50 people on the misdemeanor for protesting.
And some of them are still there.
Mm-hmm.
Even though LAPD says they let them out, we know the truth. Thank you so much. Good luck. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So even though they said they let them out, they didn't let all the protesters out. We are learning from people coming out of the jail. They were not released in time for Thanksgiving, as was advertised by the mainstream media. Surprise, not. I'm gonna look for my battery. Oh, I don't want to do that. Sorry. I'm gonna look for my battery. So this is Metro. in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like everything that you would think you would want to have access to fulfill your civic duties as a person are extremely inaccessible in Los Angeles. This is like 2 blocks from City Hall. And if you're driving, it is expensive as hell to visit any of these things. A lot of these meters are like $5 an hour with no parking anywhere. And this is right near LAPD HQ. And I don't know if you heard that other story that a girl had gotten beat up by her boyfriend, but was put in jail. There is a vehicle that just left as she walked away, which is interesting. Oh, So, if you're just tuning in, we are at the Los Angeles Police Department Metropolitan Detention Center. There was about 150 demonstrators that were corralled on the sidewalk after LAPD had corralled them onto the streets, that were then stopped and frisked by LAPD. And if people didn't have IDs or had anything on their record, apparently they were booked, or people were brought up on charges and they were searched as well. I'll put on the chat because nothing's happening down here. Welcome back. Thanks. Live from Los Angeles jail, where nothing is going on, PMPers. Look at this empty building. Like, you couldn't even with your loved ones in there. And just so you know, somebody that just left the jail said that demonstrators, there are still women being held in there, despite LAPD saying that they were released. Yeah. Yeah, they grabbed, Patty, they grab you too? They dragged me by my 2 arms, away from the media, telling me that I was not press. It was all, really weird, like that. So this is downtown LA, for those who are tuning in, not familiar with this area. I am on a pretty empty block, only nobody can park here except them. Nobody else except 1009370. That car can park here. It's really inaccessible to everyday people, not cops or government workers. Most of the civic centers and places where people would go to participate in their alleged democracy, which we know we don't have, we have an oligarchy. LAPD, LA cuts no slack. Looks like a huge concrete jungle. Yeah, it does. You should see Twin Towers. It's scary as fuck. I don't know who saw those white vans without windows, but it was all you need to do is drop a little gas in there and you would have Nazi Germany. I don't understand why any human beings would be put in those vans, except that they want to hide what they're doing. They don't want you to see people's faces. If people have in some way wronged our society, I don't think that they should be hidden behind white metal doors and it was just scary. It looked like a fucking box. Just put flashing Christmas lights on top. No. America is a republic, and to the republic for which it stands, we the fucking fascist corporations? Is that who we're standing with? Because that's who we're standing with. Well, this is downtown LA. So I am originally, it's amazing is like this cop sounds like he's having personal problems in that corner. I'm actually gonna give him some space. But he's like arguing with somebody. I hail from New York. I come from New York. And so to me, when I see like a city and you say like the downtown area, I imagine something like lively and jumping and a place where like people walk and you have people engaging with the community. But downtown LA it's maybe that during the day, but it's definitely not that during the night unless you're like a hipster. So, and our civic areas are like some of the most inaccessible parts of the city. It is seemingly intentional. City Hall, the giant white dick of lies, is on the other side of that, I think. And you've probably seen that from the movies. And it's like in the middle of nowhere. There's nowhere to park. Like buses aren't allowed to go down the sides of it. Like you would really not feel that those things were there because the community should interact with them, which is how it should be. Because those are our public buildings and those are our public servants working inside the public buildings. We should have a relationship with those things. We should care about those things. But in LA, it is like totally fucking inaccessible. It's bizarre. And then this turns into some weird fucking ghost town. Like, how is this downtown? Like, where are the people? Like, out of your cars and talk to each other? Like, look at this, it's just cars. His blood sugar is low. No donuts. Those vans were creepy. Yeah, right? Those vans were super creepy. Like, I was like, shit. Like, that doesn't make me feel secure. These crazy cops have Nazi vans. Whoa. Every time you think you've seen everything, they show up with some other crazy war machine looking thing. And you're just like, who are the Dr. Evils that dream up this shit? Like, we're gonna put human beings in these windowless metal fucking cages that look like the inside of refrigerator coffins that we think have been bad. Who thought of that? How are you? Hello. VIP parking.
Oh, no. We're good. We're done.
You're done.
Another day down.
Yeah, so it's liberty and justice for all, but that's not happening. It's never been happening. I mean, maybe for like some people, because they experience through a privileged perspective what liberty and justice was supposed to be for them, but still it's kind of not happening. But it's really, it's never happened. Like, it's never happened. All men are created equal. Men, I'm not a man. Or like, all men. From the minute that was put down, it wasn't happening. That was in a system of slavery after they committed a genocide to steal all this land and say, it was mine. I mean, so we've never really had it. Like, everything was built upon oppression and violence, and we've never had liberty and justice for all. That's like a myth. We need actual democracy. Man, I just want to, like, I don't know. I need freedom. I want freedom, freedom. Donut run quick, push your order in. Seriously. Send in the Krispy Kreme. So this is Metro. I'm nutso. Awesome. That's like the de facto argument for any person that wants to dehumanize a woman. She's crazy. She's nuts. That doesn't work on me, though. Yeah, so does anyone know, Beers, do you know how we get back our friends? Or if they've even been booked yet? I don't really want to say who, but do you know if they've been booked? Because I'm obviously just posted up at fucking Metro. Read that and you'll not want democracy. What are you all talking about? Those bands, yeah. And when people get released, this is where they end up. Like, it's the middle of nowhere. I've heard stories that another little trick that the cops like to play is that in some areas, if some people have gang affiliation and they get picked up, the cops like to take them into and drop them off in these little what do they call, like snatch and release, in areas where there is a warring gang with their gang. Did you? I mean, this is really bad for a demonstrator. You know, just like a person that isn't at risk necessarily in a neighborhood. But can you imagine what that is like in other parts of LA when the cops think that that is the tactic that they should use against people, like literally endangering their lives in a catch and release, because that's part of the reality of this struggle. So, and then after I turned off my stream, so I was given one of the speakers and I put on Sibo the rapper's music, who I don't know if some of you are familiar with Sibo the rapper, but he was leading the justice, not leading, but like he was organizing justice for Ezell Ford actions out here in Los Angeles. And of course, he ended up getting railroaded by the justice system not long after he was doing that organizing and releasing very powerful rap music related to the death of Ezell Ford and the fascist, white supremacist police state that we live in right now. He was convicted and given a sentence of 17 years. The max sentence for a 22-year-old father. And so I put on some of his music after everybody had left. There was really just like 6, 7 people that were onlookers that had stopped. And when I put on his music, 4 cop cars just came and sit there. And it was just like little me at a Chevron with a speaker. It was like 4 cop cars playing rap music. It was the most bananas thing in the world. Like, you're in pig country there, right? It's a great country to be rich and white, yep. They do drag gang members into rival territory. That is real. Even if they've been sued for that, but you know they do what they can get away with. Does everybody sue them? No. Yes, thank you. Team Ryan, right, Rian. So, yes, cops do that, and they're still doing it because it happens and people talk about that shit. And we need to have those conversations because they do what they can get away with. And if we're not paying attention, and if we're not, even so when someone's getting pulled over, like stopping and observing these situations, they're going to take as much latitude as they can fucking take. I'm white and poor, not by choice either. So, yeah, anyway, for those just tuning in, we're at Metropolitan Detention Center where absolutely nothing is going on but kidnappings all day long and police sirens. Whatever cop that is, he's still having his personal problem. Win the boot? What are you talking about? I wish I had a cigarette. Oh, you know what I do have? I think I have a Cliff Bar. Fuck yeah. Do I have actual proof of cops dragging gang members into rival areas? I have had people tell me that that is what they do, and I believe them. I think the unfortunate reality of being like, hey, can you show up with your hard-nosed proof that that some gang member was dragged into a rival gang area also comes with the reality of that person risking the safety of themselves and probably people that they love, which is why this is like, if you can imagine how bad police brutality is in, like, let's say Hollywood, or let's even say or Eagle Rock here, what they get away with in, say, South Central LA is exponentially worse because the community lives in fear. There is no, I'm just gonna step on the news, and like, people are scared for their lives, their livelihood. Like, the police actually terrorize the members of these communities. So I think if there's going to be like a dialogue about the real atrocities, then that dialogue's going to happen when those communities feel like they can talk about it and they feel safe. But as we sit here and pretend that police brutality and police violence isn't happening, you're not going to hear all the stories unless you're on the ground or you're paying attention, like sitting there behind your keyboard. Like, go out and talk to people. Like, go into communities where people live under the police state and may not step on the news to be like, hey, they're totally fucking up and killing people on my block. It's happened 4 times this year. You need to go talk to people. So sorry, I'm eating a protein bar. Oh, is this place open? Oh shit, look, mega closed. Ugh. Look at those like screening devices. Yeah, you can't be an armchair activist. Tell them, Lance. Until I make a change, like, be in touch with your community. Know what's going on. Like, we can't sit here complacent and be like, oh, I totally trust that the fascist police state is telling me the truth about everything and that, you know, all these people are protected and what they're reporting on the news is the truth. Like, now that we know all those things aren't what they seem, like, I really feel it's important that we each empower ourselves to connect and to question what we see and explore the world and not, like, listen to these preconceived perceptions. Like, you actually have to have that human experience. You have to go into communities and talk to people and ask them what's going on. Start with your own community. And if there's a community where you have a concern, where you think that there's concerns with the police, like, be vigilant, like, be present, be there. As for the arrests, the police said dozens. I don't know what that means. Black lives don't matter. Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, Black lives matter, but in our society, they're not mattering. Otherwise, nobody would have to tell you Black lives matter. Like, that should be all-inclusive, like, should be included in the way we think. What are the real problems, Kafach? Mike Brown's not the right one for the face. Like, there is no face. Like, who cares? Like, why is, like, one life the face? This isn't like a fucking Cliff Bar. This isn't like, oh, we're looking for the logo. It's not Mike Brown. That's not all Black Lives Matter. That's not all lives mattering. This is the murder of one person after another, after another, after another at the hands of the state. And there being no justice for that. And it's saying justice for Mike Brown doesn't just mean justice for Mike Brown. It's for everybody. Mike Brown just happened to be a catalyst because the police in Ferguson, the people in Ferguson took radical action trying to take justice, which is what we all should be doing. There's no face. Here it's Azell Ford. It's Omar Abrego. Down south, Kelly Thomas. There's no one face. Like, everyone, whatever city you're in, somebody's been killed by the cops. I fucking promise you. How do you get people out of this thing? Metropolitan Detention Center. Yeah, I should have been taking action long ago. I agree. One day, when they talk about the rise of fascism and tyranny, they're going to show all these body scanning devices. Just like they showed the entrances to the concentration camps. It's like a slow, like, I think one of the things that they put in place to, like, make us slowly accept the erosion and violation of our rights, down to, like, TSA being able to look at you naked. Like, How fucking bananas spooky is that? Like, but they couldn't just jump to you going through an x-ray machine looking naked at TSA. It was a slow erosion of our rights. And one thing was implemented systematically after the other until they're trying to get you naked at fucking TSA in some radiation device. Like, it's just so freaky. And I remember when these things were first put in the schools. I think when they first put them in the schools, like, that was the beginning of the end. When they made, like, being x-rayed and being criminalized part of youth, that's where people should have drawn the line, which was when I was a teenager, is when they started putting it in the schools. Thanks, Jose, but I'm not from the Valley. We are living in the closing of an open. I wonder how many cops are being paid to be on my channel.
You gotta come back. Sign right there. 10 a.m.
Sorry.
Left side.
How many protesters do you have in there?
Property's closed right now. Back to the side.
How many protesters do you have in there? No answer.
Time's on the door.
Just don't agree with the Mike Brown thing. You're welcome. It's not like super exciting. We're just at the Metropolitan Detention Center here in Los Angeles, where, if you haven't heard, approximately 150 Ferguson demonstrators here in LA were corralled on a sidewalk and then stopped and frisked by LAPD. People that didn't clear the background checks and have IDs, which brought to Metropolitan Detention Center, apparently by the dozens. Although, interesting, I did actually hear them speaking about arresting specific people before announcing that they were going to let them go one by one. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that person is probably here, ironically. So that will be interesting to see. I mean, yeah, what does Mike Brown thing even mean? Like, please, like, you know, it's like, I just don't agree with this whole Mike Brown thing, you know? Maybe if you just picked somebody that I liked a little bit more as a person, I would sympathize with them being murdered without a gun, being armed, or like, I mean, how many black men are gonna die? Like, I mean, not just killer cops. When are people gonna say too many black men are dying, especially youth? Like, when did that become okay? Because that's where we're at. It's not just cops. It's our society. But a cop kills a black man every 20, I think it's actually 26 hours, but it was 28 hours, but I think it's now every 26 hours. Good evening, friends. What's going on in the stream? We are at Metropolitan Detention Center because LAPD trapped and corralled 150 demonstrators this evening that they then decided to stop and frisk. So the demonstrators that didn't meet their identification and background check requirements are now in Metropolitan Detention Center, which is in the middle of fucking nowhere. If you are not familiar with LA, we're at Metro. What? This place looks fascist. That's the inside. Apparently it takes like 2 hours to book them, so I haven't gone inside yet. If you look at my archive stream, you'll see that some people were taken out in these super freaky looking white metal box vans without windows. It looked like people were being put into some refrigerator coffin. Like, you wouldn't even need a trip to the morgue because you were already there. And so after being taken away in this place where they were completely stripped of their identities or anybody being able to see what was actually going on in that van, they were brought to the Metropolitan Detention Center. So I guess dozens of the people that didn't meet the requirements of their racist stop and frisk ended up here. Yeah, he's no angel. I mean, who are you people? Are you the same people who, when your little white children do something wrong, you end up crying at the police station, please let them go and they'll never do that again? Because that's like pretty much every fucking middle-class white person that I've ever fucking met in my entire life. But if you can't identify with a person, and God forbid they're fucking black, because you in your mind have a cooked up version that for some reason somebody who isn't pale like you and the darker that they are, the worse that they should fucking be treated. They get killed in the fucking street over some bullshit. They're unarmed and they're a fucking teenager and you think it's okay? No, it's not okay. Or can we talk about Tamir Rice? I mean, just in case he's no angel, did you watch that video and see how fast they fucking killed a 12-year-old boy on a swing? Give me a break. Like, oh, that 12-year-old should have known better than to get killed by a cop. There's something wrong with a world like that. So if you can't see that shit that way, if you can't like see that as immoral and unjust and that people shouldn't fucking get slaughtered, then you need to get your head checked. I'm a racist bitch. Can you delete Jose Doe, moderator? Get rid of this motherfucker. Is that me? Cops do kill white people too. I'm not saying that we don't have a problem with killer cops. But what I'm saying is that if Mike Brown looked like JonBenet Ramsey, we wouldn't fucking be standing here, period. How long did they look for that little blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl? Oh my God, she was the most important fucking thing in the world. Do you remember when she fucking... you gotta be joking me. If Azelle Ford looked like JonBenet Ramsey, we would not fucking be standing here. Think about it. That's the fucking problem. And that's why it's like, yes, we have a problem with killer cops, but you know what? If you actually smash the problem that black people have with killer cops, I guarantee you nobody's going to have a problem with police violence, period. But you got to abolish the cops. Like, these people don't work for us anymore, or they wouldn't have like crazy looking military gear and be running through the streets like soldiers. Like, that is not what our police were put here to do. What they have done is negate posse comitatus and put motherfucking soldiers on our streets. And that is what you're looking at. 11 and a half, 1.5, is it 1.5 seconds before they shot Tamir Rice? That's fucking horrible. Free speech anti-media channel? Okay, listen. I might not moderate that fucking page because there's so many damn racists, but this is my motherfucking stream. And if I don't want you on here, oh, sorry, I don't mean to use that word. This is my fucking stream. And if I don't want you on here and I could have you taken off, I'm going to have you taken off. It's called autonomy, bitch. So we're still at Metro. And this is where people get processed. And he is still having some kind of personal problem in that corner right there. And when they get let out, this is where people, they go from there. And if they're released here, this is where they end up. Can you imagine how many women, I mean, well, that's not fair, but can you imagine like how many people that might feel vulnerable in the streets late at night get released at Metro? And this is like in no way accessible, and it's dark and in the middle of nowhere. Like, what the fuck is here? And they do this to people. Like, that is part of the intimidation tactics of the state, is to like kind of spin people all around and then dump them somewhere, like some sort of punishment. And people that like genuinely, I think some of the people that do things that harm our society, like some of them are actually really injured themselves, and that they think that this system of like punishment and continued punishment and confusion and submission will in some way eradicate that, and it doesn't. I mean, this doesn't include all the people that get rung up here on fucking bullshit, because that shit happens all day long, but like legitimately how this system has been set up, like that's why it's so ineffective. Like, this isn't how you deal with social issues. It's just by continued harm, confinement, pain, seclusion, shame, and then and then dumping people in some weird fucked up area. Like, we should be at the White House. What the fuck is the White House gonna do? What is the White House gonna do? Am I a trick? Who are you? Why? Oh. So do I have a bunch of pigs on my channel now because I see a bunch of people that are acting like they're from the KKK? That's what I'm gonna assume, that some of y'all are just getting paid with a bunch of tax dollars to fucking troll my channel. Well, congratulations on being a piece of shit. Cheap it on this. I wish I had remains to it. I'm stupid. I actually hate being awake and seeing the world. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put y'all sideways. I'm just curious if I could see all your chat. Like, my chat function sucks. So it doesn't work, I think, the way it's supposed to. Excuse me, miss, have you been drinking? Do you kiss your mom with that mouth? You know, if people actually cared about our society as much as they cared about cursing, we'd be all fucking set. Whoa, can someone get rid of Deborah Lim if you're on my freaking chat? Ban hammer needs to come down. I know, right? I freaking can't do it. I don't know. Where are my moderators? Moderator. Moderator, please come back. A cop is killed every 58 hours. Bullshit. A cop is killed every 58 hours. Like, you're fucking joking, right? Is that like, put that fucking link in my chat. Go ahead. Go ahead. Show me the fascist website. Hi, would you happen to know how many demonstrators you have in there? Ma'am? Okay, great. Thank you. So their starting salary is about $40,000 to $50,000 a year. And what I find ironic, not ironic, what I find really frightening is people, the cops that killed Azell Ford and Omar Abrego, they all make over $100,000 a year. I haven't done it, but I'm guessing if you do a spreadsheet on the killer salaries of the killer cops, you will find that they're mostly higher ranking officers that make more money. That's my guess. It's just a guess. But so I find it ironic that they get paid so much money, and especially like, and you see like how hard it was for her to actually talk to me, and she's a public servant. So that's when you know there's actually a problem with the dynamics with the police, because they should smile. They should say, hey, how can I help you? Like, you're a public servant. You're supposed to be a peace officer. Last year, 27 cops killed, fewest in decades, but good try, right? Do I have a job outside streaming? Yes, I do have a job outside streaming. I'm with the media. Shut down the government building. Like 40 cops were killed. Okay, but cops sign up to be cops. So when cops get killed in the line of duty, which I wonder how many people were actually trying to save their own lives in doing that, that's the job they signed up for, which should be not be reflective of what they inflict on people that didn't sign up for their job. That includes the possibility of getting shot, which is why they shouldn't just fucking kill people. Will help. Congress doesn't do shit. Usually they're killed in traffic accidents. I could totally see that. With all the speeding that they do, I can see that. Like 400 people killed, 40 cops, big difference. Bet they have a nice Christmas. They don't, that doesn't even... No, it's not okay because it's their job. No, it's not okay. But what I'm saying is when a cop gets shot, that is part of the reality of their job. Just like when a fireman or just like when a fire person dies in a burning building, that is part of the reality of their job. The reality of Mike Brown's life should have been, I'm going to school and I'm going to start college, not I'm going to get shot by the cops and then left in the fucking street for 4.5 hours while the entire neighborhood crowded around that fucking body. Sorry, I shouldn't have called him a body. But he was just left there. Like, I mean, who does, like, how inhumane is this? And they brought, like, barking German shepherds and, like, I mean, how inhumane are we possibly gonna be? How about we discuss how many people were killed by their own race? Why? Because you're comfortable with that discussion? That's amazing. Of course you are. Like, how about you actually discuss the discussion that needs to happen, which is why Black lives don't matter and how you're going to change that. And, like, deal with racism in your own fucking community. Because that's the problem. oh, look, thugs decide to be thugs and they should know they will be. Oh, that's amazing. You write like, does that even make, I mean, are you trying to make sense there? But that's what we talk about with mainstream media. So you use that word thug, right? And that whole idea of the thug has been put in your head by mainstream media, by that $12 movie ticket that you go to buy, and in which a person is then thugified for you, so that when a cop shoots them and fucking kills them and leaves them in the street for 4.5 hours, that life won't matter to you. That is where your notion of thug comes from. That is why the corporate media is a fucking problem, because they have been doing this for decades. This is decades of work that has gone into making it so that Black life matters so little to this society that people are getting executed in our streets, caught on fucking film doing it, and nothing is happening. Black on black crime is the code word for white supremacy. Only the cops are not allowed to voice their opinions. Here's the cop's opinion. I need to get a check. I want to be a hero, like my dad. Were you? Yes, I was in Ferguson. Why don't we discuss how the system is seriously flawed? Do I think cops should even carry guns? I don't believe in our system of policing. So like when you say cops, to me you're talking about the police. In my opinion, or I think in my fact, the system of policing itself is structurally oppressive. You actually have to abolish the police. Like you have to start fresh. And I think that whoever does the protecting of the communities that they're in, that should be decided by the community on some level. And that's my opinion of how you deal with this. Like we should actually decide who protects and defends our communities if that's a thing. Some communities don't have that. All right, so let's talk about this All Lives Matter thing, because I saw it and I got excited. And I got excited because it came from a good friend of mine that I think hasn't been paying attention to what's going on, because it just sort of became like, oh, you're the activist friend, not like you're out there for things that are really important that everybody should care about, because I guess that becomes sort of a problem. But anyway, my friend posted All Lives Matter. I reposted it. I was excited because they were giving a fuck. But here's the problem. The problem with All Lives Matter is it dilutes this situation. I think it's important that people still say Black Lives Matter. And some people are using Brown Lives Matter, because this is not just about Black men getting killed or Black people, but there are a lot of brown people who are getting killed. But by saying all lives matter, again, it's getting whitewashed. We know that white lives matter. You know, there's a reason people are saying Black Lives Matter. And I think part of it is to affirm it, like that has to be actualized. It has to be real. It can't just be like, all lives matter, because there's an unwillingness to even confront that there's a race issue in there. Again, like Black Lives Matter. That's what people have to get out of this. When Black lives and brown lives matter, all lives will matter. That's later, but you're not there yet. Where can we donate to you? PM Beers, can you put up the... there is a fund, a legal fund for SIBO. So if you want to donate, people can donate to the legal fund for SIBO. Hey, PM Beers, can you put up a link to SIBO's legal fund for people who want to donate? I think my old link is for Azelle Ford. Who is paying you? Yes, thank you, Team Ryany, or Ryan. Because the default is that white lives already do. Black lives matter. Yeah, I think by saying all lives matter, it's another way of diluting the issue. Is no, I think when people get, okay, well, I would say actually abolish the police does mean no police, because I don't think I'd ever want to call these people police in my community ever again, because it's affiliated with something so just oppressive and bad. Like, that's not like a peace officer. But when you say abolish the police, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't have a system of protecting or defending our communities. It means the actual structure of policing, the actual system down to the foundation, it's broken. It doesn't work for us. So it means that we have to, hold on a second, I'm gonna move stream. Hi, are you looking for your friends?
Yeah.
How many people are you missing?
We're trying to bail out 2 people.
Oh, did they already register them?
Yeah.
How much is their bail? Okay. I'm wondering if I should take people's names so that people can be accounted for. Hold on, I'm streaming. I'm gonna drop stream and archive. I'll be right back. Thanks.